You can change your life in 21 days. All it takes is a simple 4-step framework. Welcome to another video, and most importantly, welcome to your winter arc. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the very easy framework that I coach students on to help them use this season for maximum productivity, to enter their winter arc, and to lock in and level up. If you don't know me, my name is Will, I'm 26, and I'm the leading life coach for students all over the world. I know that sounds cringe, but I help students like you gain more confidence, motivation, focus, and like I said, lock in and level up. What I'm about to share is a framework that I've used to level up in my life, compete in Ironman triathlons, improve relationships, and build a business that almost makes me $1 million a year doing what I absolutely love, which is this. So enough yapping, let's dive in. In order to start your winter arc, you've got to know where you're going. So step number one is to create goals and intentions. Goals and intentions create purpose, and purpose is what creates motivation. So if you are someone who lacks a lot of motivation, like I often do, I definitely did when I was a student, then I really encourage you to set clear goals. And I'm not talking about the goals of like, okay, this is what I want to do when I grow up. I want to have 4 kids. I want to live in this house. I need to study this when I go to college. Those aren't the goals that I'm talking about. I want you to think to yourself, how do I want to feel at the end of my winter arc? Which, by the way, is usually, 2 months, 3 months. How do I want to feel? What results do I want to achieve? What habits do I want to cultivate in my everyday routine and my schedule? What skills do I want to obtain, and what do I want to feel is easy? Now, if you're a student and again, you're like me, you're thinking to yourself, I don't have goals. I don't really know the answer to those questions. This is literally the time where you should think about it. So often we say, I don't know what my goals are. And then I always ask, well, how much time have you spent thinking about them? Like, how much time have you truly spent creating your vision and finding clarity around how you want to improve in the next 3 months? The answer is very, very often, haven't really thought about that at all. In order for you to stay motivated and build momentum in your winter arc, you've got to ask yourself, where do I want to go? If you don't have goals, by the way, it's kind of like starting a road trip without an end destination. It's like having a car in the driveway, packing up all the stuff that you're going to pack for the road trip, taking off, and then just being like, well, I guess let's just drive. Like, that would suck. Even if you like road trips, that kind of sucks. So real quick, let me explain my favorite method of setting goals. It's called the 6 pillars of goal setting. What I want you to do is I want you to think through the 6 categories of your life that not necessarily take up the most time, but that are the most important to you. So maybe you've got school, you've got friends, you've got your fitness. Maybe you have a skill or an instrument that you want to improve on. Maybe it's, I want to start a business. Think about your priorities. And if it's 6, awesome. If it's 4, that's okay too. If it's 12, I would really recommend bringing it down to 6 or 7, because really if you have 12 priorities, you don't have any. Once you have your 4 to 6 priorities, ask yourself 2 questions. How do I want to feel? So what's the internal feeling that I want to feel when it comes to my fitness, my relationships, my personal growth, my schoolwork? And then also, what results do I want to see, right? That way we have an internal goal of a feeling as well as an external goal, which is a result. Once you do this, you're going to have far more purpose and motivation as you're going on your winter arc because you have something to work for. Now, the second thing is really important because you could have the biggest goals and the best goals, but if you don't do number 2, then you're probably not going to achieve them. And this is what I call reverse engineering your goals. So 2 really big words for someone that's not that smart like me. What does it mean? Well, it means starting with the end in mind. It's creating your goal and working yourself backwards to ask yourself, if I want to achieve that, what must I do? What skills must I acquire? And what are the daily habits that I've got to cultivate in order to achieve that thing? So in order to create a rock solid action plan for your winter arc, ask yourself 2 questions per pillar. The first question is very simple. What must I do in order to make progress towards that goal? Notice how I say progress. I know this sounds cringe, but you've got to focus on progress, not perfection, right? So what can I do to make progress? The second thing is, what can I stop doing in order to make progress? I think this second question is probably the most important just because of the world we live in. If you're like me, chat, like we do things that hold us back from our goals every single day. Sometimes it's like every single moment of every single day, right? We've got phones and we are just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, right? A lot of the things that we need to do to be successful aren't things that we need to add, but they're actually things that we need to subtract from our routines and our calendars. So real quick, what are some examples of just positive habits that we can cultivate in order to enter this winter arc and absolutely crush this season of life? I'm going to put a list up here, things that we can do, things like cold shower, exercise for like 4 or 5 times a week, right? Just like get a sweating, get your heart rate up. You can study at the same time every day. You can start a book. You can start a business, start flipping clothes. I have a lot of videos in the coming months to help you make money as a teenager, so make sure you're subscribed below. But these are all habits that you can cultivate in order to crush your winter arc. Now, like I said, the second list is just as important, and that is, what can I stop doing? Well, the main thing that comes to mind for me, doom scrolling. Stop doom scrolling. That's probably bringing you further away from that person that you want to become, which is that guy, that girl, an absolute academic unit or an athletic unit, right? Those are the things that are holding you back. So maybe it's procrastination, it's scrolling, it's video games, maybe it's eating too much sugar. Whatever it is for you, create that list. The whole point of these two lists, by the way, is to keep your action plan simple. We tend to overcomplicate success. So think about it. If you have 2 lists, one, things that I need to do, things that I need to stop doing, and you follow through with that list, the goals that you just set will probably happen, right? You can almost guarantee the success of your goals if you just follow those lists for 21 days. Now, I know it's not that simple, but step number 3 is to actually make it a whole lot easier, right? Because you might be overwhelmed right now. You're like, dang, these are things that are difficult. I don't know if I can accomplish them. I haven't been really good at following through with habits that I want to follow through with. Step number 3 is so important. And it's really one that changed my life. And that is to create environments that set you up for success. One of the biggest things that I learned, especially as somebody with ADHD gang, let me know in the comments. I'm not really good at this whole discipline thing, right? Like you can practice, it's definitely a muscle that you can grow. But for the most part, if I'm just like relying on my discipline, I'm probably going to get distracted. I'm probably going to scroll, right? If my phone's nearby, I'm gonna scroll. And if you're the same way, you could really benefit from creating better environments. So there's kind of 2 environments that I really encourage you to think about in your winter arc. The first one is your friend group. I know this sounds very boomer and very cringe of me to say. I may sound like your parents, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to really lock in and level up over the next 3 months, you've got to be willing to separate yourself from toxic people. Once again, I have a ton of future videos around how to separate yourself from toxic people, so make sure you're subscribed. Now, the second way to create an environment that supports your winter arc is one that I'll explain with a story. When I was in high school, I had 2 years where I had really, really bad grades. I was getting like C's and D's. Fast forward to the next 2 years, my junior and senior year, I had pretty much perfect grades, like a 4.0 GPA, and I think that was even with some honors classes. And I say that because something changed, and it was this. I started to do all of my homework and studying at Starbucks, at a local coffee shop. And the reason why this was so amazing, my parents dropped me off, I would work, and I'd say, don't pick me up for the next 2 hours. And the crazy thing is like I actually got work done. Even with my ADHD brain, I was amazed at how what usually takes me 4 hours took me like 2 or maybe 1.5. And the reason why, chat, is because I didn't have video games in Starbucks. I wasn't going to bring my Xbox and my 3 controllers and play with people online at Starbucks. I mean, I probably could, but I didn't. And that's why it's so important to create an environment that supports your goals. The best way to break a bad habit is to change the environment. So if you're like me and you get really distracted really easily, put your screens, your phones, your Xbox up and use those things as your reward rather than your escape. Now, the 4th step, once you have your goal, your plan, and your environment set up to succeed, you've got to take action. Now, there's 2 tips that I want to walk you through that's really helped me, the procrastinator, actually take action. And the first one comes from Mel Robbins. She is a motivational speaker, and she's written a book called The 5-Second Rule. And real quick, what this is all about is your brain knows what it should do, right? Like, you kind of know when you should take action, when you should get off the video game. Your brain has 5 seconds from the time you have the initial thought to the time your brain will kill the idea. So what Mel Robbins realized is that if you have the initial thought, you need to start counting down from 5. Let's say you have the thought, I need to get out of my bed, even though I don't want to, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up when you hit 0. Otherwise, you're going to continue to procrastinate over and over and over again. If you want to enter your winter arc and come out on the other side a leveled up person, you've got to be someone who takes action when they don't feel like it. Another tip that really helps me even to this day, as cringe as it sounds, is affirmations and pump up videos. Like, I could literally go onto YouTube and type in motivational speech and it'll actually pump me up. Or I could say my own affirmations that remind me of that goal and plan that I have in the first place. I'm going to put some of my favorites up here, but the first one, don't give up what you want most for what you want right now. I say that to myself all the time. Second, I'm someone who happens to life. Third, my name is Will, not won't. Unless your name is Will, you probably can't do that, but you guys get the point. Those are things that, yeah, I know they're cringe, they're cheesy, but they actually work if you let them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subscribed below. And if you want more tips on how to stop procrastinating, make sure you click this video. Peace, kings and queens.